Hang on to your hats, everybody. I'm going to give you a little glimmer, just a shard, a shred, a thread of hope when it comes to Titanfall 3. Welcome to Video Game Leaks, everybody. Chaos here. Today we're going to talk about Titanfall 3 leaks and updates. Now, don't get too excited, but just stick around till the end of the video. Trust me. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you have those notifications fully turned on so you never, ever miss an upload. We cover all the latest, greatest video game leaks every single day. Now, Titanfall, it's a tragic franchise. It is. First game was a little underwhelming on the content side of things, but the core gameplay was perfect, and the multiplayer maintained a small but passionate community for years after it was released. I still remember going to the early NVIDIA capture that we did for it and dropping in as a Titan for the first time. It was unique. It was a memory that I'll always have with me. Now, the sequel was released in 2016. Huge step up in every category. It expanded upon the gameplay, excellent single-player campaign, and after releasing on the PlayStation 4 as well as the Xbox and PC, things were cooking. Now, the game was great. Unfortunately, it was released in a hilariously bad time. It was sandwiched between Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, which just absolutely cannibalized the potential sales for it. Now, it may have been the best game out of the three, to be honest with you. Titanfall 2 was undeniably one of the best shooters of the year, but it was a financial disappointment. EA is still yet to publicly greenlight the sequel, but the Titanfall universe has been dramatically revived with the insane success of Apex Legends. Everybody knows, free-to-play spin-off battle royale that took control of the genre after its release. To this day, Apex is one of the most popular games in the world. Many have wondered if this would mean a potential revival of the main franchise. So, a few months ago, we reported on a job listing at Respawn Entertainment that seemed to allude to some kind of single-player game set in the Apex universe. Now, some thought this meant Titanfall 3 was finally in development, but we here at VGL, we didn't agree in that video. The wording of the job listing repeatedly called the franchise the Apex universe instead of the Titanfall universe, so it seems Respawn is more or less ditching Titanfall as the main showrunner and instead letting Apex take the wheel. This isn't shocking at all. Apex is an absolute money-printing machine. It's not the first time in gaming history something like this has happened. Let's go back. There have been a number of spin-off games that ended up being so popular, they took over the original franchise. Persona, Zombie Army, many others. Respawn Entertainment is hard at work maintaining Apex Legends and looking for new ways to expand that universe directly instead of going back to the Titanfall storyline, which may have been beloved by fans, but is simply not going to get the green light from EA due to the back-to-back financial disappointment of the first two games. They don't care that it was sandwiched in between two juggernauts at the time. They don't care that it has a passionate universe. All they look at is the dollar signs. But does that mean it's impossible not to get Titanfall 3? Here's where it gets interesting. Throughout the last couple years, there have been whispers from within the industry that Respawn is quietly working on some kind of Titanfall 3, albeit without the main focus that the studio usually gives its projects. Apex Legends is a top priority right now. Respawn also has a couple Star Wars projects in the works, such as the upcoming Jedi Fallen Order sequel and a still untitled FPS project that we'll probably get some update on early next year. However, that doesn't mean that Respawn isn't slowly working on a new Titanfall game in the background. After all, Apex Legends, massive success. So it's safe to assume that a new Titanfall game would sell far better than the last two, simply because of the association with Apex. Now, with that being said, a leak came out earlier this year from a somewhat questionable source that rather definitively stated a third Titanfall game was in development, but news since then has been scarce. There's even theories that it was canceled and all its resources were moved over to the upcoming single-player Apex game that's coming. So back in October of 2020, Respawn themselves stated a third game was not in development, and in late 2021, they removed it from paid subscription services in order to focus on Apex and other future projects. However, there's a few little details that give us hope. This is where I told you to hold on to that glimmer of hope. In September of 2021, Community Director Jason Garza once again told fans not to get their hopes up about a third Titanfall game due to the sheer number of projects on their plate, particularly the new single-player game that many people believe is related to Apex. But Respawn has been very hopeful throughout the years. Despite shutting down Titanfall 3 rumors directly as to not give fans false hope, they also left the door cracked just a little bit. It's clear, whenever a new Titanfall 3 rumor is shut down or some potentially bad news is delivered, they always make sure to mention that the universe will continue and that Titanfall is part of the company's DNA. The most recent shutdowns we've heard cited the sheer number of projects on their plate, which that's understandable. I mean, you have to go where the money is, I get it. And at the time of this video's recording, Respawn is working on 2 Star Wars games, a brand new single-player game, while also maintaining one of the biggest multiplayer shooters in the world. So needless to say, they're a very busy studio. But this raises the question, what happens after their schedules open up? After the release of their Star Wars projects and the new single-player game, whatever it may be, they're left to their own devices. The game studio has to keep content coming out in order to make ends meet, but what happens when they're no longer working with Disney or LucasArts or back to the drawing board? That's when I think Titanfall 3 could hit the ground running. I have no doubt in my mind. This studio is extremely passionate about the universe they've created. Now that Apex has blown that universe up in popularity, they are probably itching to get back to work on something new. But with EA calling the shots more or less and LucasArts demanding 2 major Star Wars games, it simply doesn't make sense for them to start putting tons of resources into a third Titanfall game that may or may not perform better than the last. Now, personally, I think it's going to take a couple more years of continued Apex dominance for EA to greenlight a third Titanfall game. On the upside, Respawn and EA are both very aware of how in demand a third Titanfall game is, and I don't think they're ignoring it at all. They see it, they just don't have the time or money or resources to work on it right now. Like I said before, I don't have any doubt that Respawn is doing little bits and pieces of work on Titanfall 3 in their free time. Pretend you're doing your main homework, but you're kind of watching your favorite creator stream on the side. You're not really into it 100%, but it's over there. That's what I feel is happening if I just think about it. Perhaps little things like storyboarding, concept art, but it's likely not going to enter any full production until at least the 2 major Respawn projects go gold. So, the rumors you heard about Titanfall 3 being in development technically aren't false, I don't think. But if you're holding your breath on it coming out anytime soon, you are definitely out of luck. Respawn is 100% going to make a third Titanfall game at some point, in my opinion, because I think it would just blast off, especially now that the landscape has completely changed with Call of Duty and Battlefield. The door is wide open. This is not back then when it was sandwiched between 2 juggernauts. It could be the juggernaut, and if you pair it with Apex in a smart way, it could be the next big thing. I do. I really feel that way, but they're going to need that schedule to clear up. They need EA to garner more faith in the project, which will only happen after a few more years of Apex actually proving itself, which is kind of ridiculous to me. It's obviously proved itself, but it is what it is. And the community continuing to show interest in wanting Titanfall 3. So, in closing, Titanfall 3 is not coming anytime soon, but I really strongly feel that 3, 4, 5 years down the road, you may get your wish. I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you soon.